I guess you could say it's been an eventful few weeks, and this is my new tripod. I guess we'll cover this towards the end, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. You see, I moved here in March 2018, and ever since, basically building work has been going on. It may come as a surprise, but the painting work in here, well, it's still not done. And behind me, well, it was the majority, and it took up a whole day to do. But you may be thinking, what else needs painting? All of this white, all the way back, is getting repainted. I have quite literally been waiting for paint to dry, so, I made myself busy.
I've hung around this place too long. It's time for me to be moving on. Yes. Got no regret.
Ooh, it's a chilly one this morning. A 4 a.m. start and like 2 hours by train. I am finally here in London. To be more precise, I'm actually at the Tavistock Centre. Now I understand that you might be saying,
Hannah, but the Tavistock Centre's for young people. You're growing up.
shush, age is just a number. But in all seriousness, today I'm not going for an appointment. Today I'm actually interviewing doctors to be part of Tavistock. I do get a lot of questions about how I ended up on the interview panel to interview the new people to work at Tavistock, and well, I thought I would explain it in just a little bit of detail. When I was younger, I was a patient at Tavistock, and I did a lot of these family fun days and a lot of the get-togethers over the summers and things like that, and I guess I was part of the in crowd at Tavistock, and I knew a lot of the young people that attended these family fun days and things like that, and I knew a couple of the staff. And during one of these summer activities, they did ask about people joining the interview panels and basically interviewing staff, and I was very interested in that. And a couple of emails later, and just talking back and forth, I got invited to this like training day, I guess you could call it. And basically you do a whole day's training, and you end up knowing what you have to do to basically interview the staff. And a couple of months passed, and I ended up getting my first invitation to interview some doctors and people like that. And it went very well. I loved it, I enjoyed it, and I vocalized how much I loved doing it. And I've been invited to a few ever since. And I know I'm gonna get the question asked, do I get paid? Yes, I get paid to do it. I don't do it for the money. If you know my life motto, I basically do what I do because I help and I enjoy helping improve the lives of others. And that's about it. But on my way home, I did get caught up in a little something. So at the moment, there is this little thing going on called climate change. You may have heard of it, and in more in depth, you may have heard of a little group, well, not so little, called Extinction Rebellion. It just so happened that the day I was in London was the first day of the climate strike in central London. And guess where I happened to end up? It wasn't scary, but there definitely were a lot of police officers. I was a little bit terrified opening my camera bag so close to Parliament because the police were definitely on edge, and I'm a ball of anxiety most of the time. And there definitely were some fearful, negative images in my head as I walked along the bridge. Climate change is something that I think is quite important, and as I have a following, I might as well try and share the importance of climate change to a wider audience instead of just keeping it up to myself. For as long as I can remember, my parents have always been about recycling and using their own bags, and even I use my own bag when I go out shopping. And if you've been watching a long time, you probably realised that I don't actually own a car, and I go pretty much everywhere by train, and you know, I kind of try and live a more environmentally friendly lifestyle. There were a lot of police as I walked across the bridge, and I couldn't even count the amount of people. There were people talking about pollution in the sea, plastic landfills, car fumes. There was so many different elements of climate change that these people were protesting about. For me personally, it's mostly sea pollution that I'm like, about. That's what really tugs at my heart. Because I do have a background in like surfing and sea swimming, and I would hate to see the oceans just filled with garbage. I saw people getting arrested, I saw people climb up on vans, and I saw so much solidarity between the rebels. This video isn't meant to be a whole preachy video about climate change, but if there's one thing that you can do, try and not use plastic bags. I know it's just a small fraction of the entirety thing, but if you can, you just use like a reusable bag. That would just, please, just a little change, please. But because I also don't drive, and this month I had a meeting far away, I was about to embark on my longest train journey ever.
It's currently 8:42 in the AM, and today I'm needing my camera bag.
Stumbling out of bed, and I still got you in my head. From all those pretty words you said, it's like I'm wasted. Every time I see your face, I'm losing track of time.
I left home at 8:40, it's now 11:40. You can do the maths, and I'm choking on my hair.
And I promise that I will stand by you forever.
Today I have met up with some friends to go through some paperwork to do with a little thing that you may have seen on my Instagram that goes by the name of Beam.
One of my newest projects this year was to really engage a lot of my friends who are content creators to work together to make some epic content. You may have been aware that I co-host a podcast called Conforming the Podcast. Well, that's coming to an end this year because it's merging to this bigger grand scheme of things. I've got a bunch of my friends together and a brand new idea. I don't really want to hype up it too much because overhyping is bad, but there are some things that you should do if you're interested in what's to come. First of all, subscribe to the YouTube channel called The Beam Bunch. I'll link it down below. The second thing you want to do is make sure that you follow the Instagram account called The Beam Bunch, and then you're pretty much good to go. But the reason that I was in Bath was to meet up in person with the co-founder of Beam. And if you weren't aware, they're called Hannah as well. What are the coinkydinks about that? But I met up with them and their partner Meg, and it was a very good meeting, and we got through so much paperwork. We had like this 13-page document to go through, and well, the first page took a whole hour to go through, so like, it was a very long meeting. I should clarify, it wasn't boring at all. I really thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I'm pretty sure they did as well.
I have just said farewell to Hannah and Meg, and we had a fabulous time. We got through so much paperwork and it was amazing. But it is turning a little bit dark and a little bit chilly, but I am not heading home right now because in fact I'm meeting up with an old friend of mine. I haven't actually seen them for 3 years, and well, they're currently here in Bath, and I'm meeting up with them. I'm pretty sure they've been on one of my vlogs before in 2016.
Now, the friend that I was meeting up with, well, they knew me way back when, pre-transition me, and, well, I hadn't really seen them for the last 3 years because of college and all of that malarkey, and it was a great meetup that we had. We literally spoke for 5 hours non-stop. I literally had 3 minutes before my last train home. Like, I would have been stuck in Bath if I hadn't caught that train. But to be able to talk to someone for like 5 hours straight is incredible. And I loved every second of it. It was fantastic. I guess it's now time to discuss this new tripod called the SwitchPod. Some of you may already know this, but I use the M50 with the 10 to 18mm Canon lens with the Rode Video Micro. I used to use this camera, which is the 77D with the Rode Video Mic Pro and a 10 to 18mm lens, and well, it was a pretty heavy loadout. The camera quality from this to this is like this, but the weight difference is, well, it's like this. I use this camera for basically all of like my trans topic videos, whereas I use this camera as like my backup for the trans topic videos, and I use this primarily just for vlogging. And yes, I do have a lot of camera equipment. I have a whole wall dedicated to camera equipment, and well, in my time of vlogging, I've gone through a fair few tripods. I started off with the GorillaPod, and well, if anyone knows anything about GorillaPods, that's all I'm gonna say. And then I switched to the Saru, which was good and all of that, but it was quite thin up here, and well, it fell over a lot with bigger lenses. But the real workhorse of my whole vlog setup has been this mini little Niwa tripod. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's much smaller than the GorillaPod, and a lot smaller than the GorillaPod literally just fell over. That's all I'm gonna say. It's much smaller than the Saru. This little tripod, well, it isn't as small as it may seem. This little tripod can go all the way up to 50 centimeters. Like, this isn't even fully extended. This can go higher just by turning this little thing here. Look at that, and I can tighten it, and well, this is huge. This is more than enough. Now, I understand that the majority of you aren't camera fanatics like me and more into like trans related stuff and my life. Well, camera gear is quite important, and well, the SwitchPod is a new part of that family. You have it in vlog mode, and then you have it in tripod mode. Vlog mode, and then tripod mode. Vlog mode, and then tripod mode. If you've heard a little bit about the GorillaPod, you know that it's all about and now we're in vlog mode. And now we're in tripod mode. And even with the Niwa going from vlog mode to tripod mode, well, it's quicker than the GorillaPod, but it's not instant. And yeah, you get a lot more height than you do with SwitchPod by quite a dramatic amount, but when you really look at this, and then you look at the thickness, that's pretty thick. And then you look at the thickness of the SwitchPod, well, a 2p coin is taller than that gap there. And then when you also consider that it can go from vlog mode to tripod mode, it's pretty awesome. But I should definitely clarify that this SwitchPod is not replacing the Niwa tripod. No, like, these are completely two different uses. What the SwitchPod is actually replacing is the GorillaPod. Yeah, the GorillaPod can bend and stuff like that, but when you actually look at the advantages, and it's literally fallen over again. It nearly hit the floor. When you look at the advantages and disadvantages compared to the GorillaPod to the SwitchPod for me personally comes out on top. But whenever you see me vlogging or whatever, probably about 90% of the time, it will be on the SwitchPod. But on that note, thank you ever so much for watching, and remember as always to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all soon. Goodbye. Bye.